So. We're looking all spiffy, and then there's Ro.
Oh, you look great. You can't even see what I have on.
In a world where quality business information is needed, we bring you On the Mic with Mike, the leading social enterprise business show in RVA. Join Mike King, the partnership guru, as he delivers game changers in Metro RVA. On the Mic with Mike showcases how business can help make society better. He discusses tech, culture, innovation, best business practices, and highlighting area nonprofits. Join Mike Monday through Friday, because it is the place where the best and brightest come to chat.
I enjoy listening to On the Mic with Mike every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. Mike King here at the Mike King Biz Studio, where we talk to the game changers. We showcase RVA in a different way, highlighting all the great things happening in Virginia and beyond. Okay, so it is a big day in the house. This is the Low and Ro show. So we got Lori Jennings in here. Rohana Mead is here. Welcome back to the program, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is Lori Jennings. We talk about tech. So not just we talk about tech, we've had other people in. Today you roll in.
Bringing the big dog in
Bringing
today.
the big dog in today. And so, okay, really quickly, Lori Jennings, tell folks who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm Lori Jennings. I'm the founder of Jennings Pro Search, which is an executive IT recruiting firm. I play senior technical and executive levels in the startup to mid-market space throughout the country.
All righty, Ro Mead, tell folks who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Ro Mead. I am the CEO of Synergy Technical. We're an IT consulting firm that's headquartered here in Richmond, Virginia, but we do work in all 50 states and in over 70 countries.
All righty, you ladies do business different. And that's one of the things you're looking at me like, where's Mike?
Yeah, I was like,
Where's
okay.
Mike going with this? That is true. Okay, but the spin that you guys put on and the way that you view technology world and the business all collide together to make people understand technology and the aspects that it has. So we're here today to talk about what, Lori? And I'm going to take this sideways because I always do, because I'm taking this from the non-technical side.
Yep.
Whereas you guys are the technical folks and understand that world.
Yeah, so today, well, I'm an IT recruiter and I'm also an entrepreneur. Ro's also an entrepreneur. And this show is about highlighting different careers in IT, putting the spotlight on women, and also giving a career advice. So today we kind of wanted to combine that, talk a little bit about entrepreneurship as some, and talk about the shift in the economy over the last year. And especially since the last few months, since the whole banking industry has been a little uncertain, we're seeing more and more people looking for jobs, being laid off. And I don't know where you hear, at least in the tech industry, we're being hit pretty hard because we've overhired probably the last couple of years. And so, I don't know, last year, people were, you couldn't even find people. They wouldn't respond to you. They had 3 or 4 job offers. It was really difficult. And now all of a sudden, I'm getting hit up, I don't know, several people a day, 20 a week. It's a lot. Everybody's saying, my neighbor's looking for a job, or my friend just got let go, or my children are graduating from college and can't find jobs. It's a lot. So we want to kind of talk about that today. And also we want to talk about, I started my business in 2008, which was, some of you may not have been around then in the workforce, but it was a really hard time. We had 3 major companies go out of business that year. We had Hemunda, Circuit City, and Land America, and we went through a major recession. And so I was starting my business and I was very scared. And there may be, but I went with it and it turned out to be kind of a blessing in disguise. We kind of want to talk about that. If you do find yourself in that situation, maybe you want to hang your own shingle. I'm going to talk about that a little bit too.
Really quickly, so you think the industry overhired and everyone got excited. Job offers are coming fast and furious, people leaving college. So the folks who had been around, who had seen this before, we had that conversation, they might understand a little bit more. But the folks who are just coming out of college now, or they had come out in the last year or two, they don't know, they may not have realized that this day was coming.
Yeah, well, as a recruiter, I've been in this industry for a while. It follows the economy very closely. Anytime you have the type of wage inflation we've seen in IT over the last couple of years, there is no way you can sustain that. You just can't pass those costs on for so long. And so I've been waiting, like, okay, yeah, here it comes. And
Yeah.
it's, and it's still coming a little slow. And hopefully it's spotting me out, but we don't know. We really don't know how long this is going to last. Have we reached the bottom? What's in store? But we can prepare for it. And that's what we want to do.
So today we're here talking about, so Ro, you guys have had a conversation about if you've been let go, there are opportunities out here that a person may not have thought about in the past, because you have a different hiring philosophy than a lot of people.
Right,
Yours is different.
right,
You hire for a person and you find spots,
correct,
which was a kind of radical idea for me.
correct.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
We've been doing it forever.
So it sort of works. Now, a lot of people who are out there looking for opportunities, they're looking at what they were used to. And now you're saying there's some other opportunities. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, and before I do that, I think I want to take just a little bit of a step back and look at the past 3 years. So, being a technology consulting company, when COVID happened, what really happened with IT folks was every IT person probably on the planet got a phone call that said, we need to enable all of our people to work from home. And that it happened in a period of days. And so we had probably 6 months to a year where companies were figuring out how to get everyone home and all of the technology that was necessary to do that. And so what happened was IT people were really, really in demand and they were making really good salaries. And we saw this massive spike in salaries. And a lot of companies really hired a lot of people. Certainly you saw that. We saw it with Facebook, we saw it with Microsoft, all the big tech companies. And so what happened was we had a good year and a half, 2 years where people were really in demand, making really, really great salaries. And then really what's happened in the past 6 months is the economy has now kind of taken a bit of a nosedive. People are starting to come back to the office. And now a lot of those positions that were created are going away. And so if you were someone that was hired in that peak, you got hired at a salary that was probably really I don't want to say it was overinflated, but it was probably higher than it would have been 2 years ago. Yes.
Absolutely.
And so now all of those people or not all, but a lot of those people have been let go and they're trying to figure out what to do. So what we're seeing that we haven't seen before is people reaching out to us directly saying, hey, I've been let go. I've lost my job. I've got this set of skills that may translate to what you're doing. Can I come on board? We're seeing recruiters sending us resumes unsolicited, which we have never seen before, or not in many, many years. And we're sort of in a position where we're looking at the economy and saying, okay, we're still pretty busy and we still have project work, but we don't know when that's going to fall off, with IT people being let go. What can happen is the major projects get put on hold and companies like us get impacted. We have not been impacted yet, but we're being very, very cautious. So where a year ago, if you had come to me and said, hey, I've got this great person that culturally will fit really, really well, I probably would have said, we're going to bring them on board. We'll figure out where they fit. Now we're being a little bit more cautious and we're saying, you know what, we maybe might want to subcontract them and put them to work on a project, but not hire them as a full-time employee. And that's because I don't ever want to be in a position where I have to look at a full-time employee that's supporting their family and say, I'm sorry, I have to eliminate your position. And we have never done that as a company.
That's a
That's a tough
that's a tough
Yeah.
one right there. People, they're part of the family. Now it's not just dollars and cents.
Yeah.
You're one of us.
Yeah. And when I hire someone, and this is true throughout the organization, we're not just hiring them, we're hiring their family. And that doesn't mean their families come to work for us. But what that means is that every decision that I make as a CEO could impact that person's family. And so I'm very, very careful that we're not ever over hiring, because again, I don't want to have that conversation and have someone who's maybe trying to put their kid through college or whatever be impacted.
Here we go. It's the Low and Rose Show here on Mike King Biz Radio. Ladies are here talking about technology. So we touched on that. These are some exciting times in tech. These are some
Yes.
exciting times. So I was just educated a couple weeks ago what Chat GPT was. You know, we've seen it all over the place, didn't have an idea. So Lori Jennings came in, bringing the experts, and next thing you know, I'm like, wow, this thing is incredible. Now, incredible comes with some growing pains as well. So, and we just had it. You'll tell what it is, and then we'll talk a little bit about the growing pains that we're going right back to this thing of eliminating positions because of technology. So, ladies, explain exactly what that thing is. Check it out. There you go.
To the
You
technology.
didn't think I was gonna do it.
Yeah, I might not be that smart. So really, at its very core, Chat GPT is a technology that is predictive. And so it will look at a question that's posed, you know, kind of glean through all of its resources and come up with an answer for you. Where it is being used is all over the place. So we're seeing it used to do things like write marketing content, where maybe a marketer might say, I need to write a blog about Chat GPT. Give me some content to do that, and you can ask it questions and kind of clarify the answer. We're also seeing it used to write code. So maybe somebody's looking for a snippet of code and they're using Chat GPT to do that. So a whole bunch of areas. There are a lot of concerns by people that it could eliminate jobs because things are done much, much faster. The caveat that I would say is that it's not perfect. And regardless of what it is that it gives you for content, be that a snippet of code or be it a blog or whatever, you have to fact check it and you have to make sure it's correct. So I think it could change how jobs are done, but I'm not sure it necessarily eliminates them.
So, Lori, that's what we had talked about before, which is you
Mhm.
ask for something, it gives you an answer. You have to have the understanding of the information to go back and
Yeah,
turn it
make
into
sure
what
it's
you were
right.
looking for.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yes. Like I started to use it to write job descriptions, and it's a great, if you have a blank piece of paper, give me a job description for this. It shoots out a pretty doggone job description, good one. But then I've got to go in and edit it and customize it and,
Yeah.
change it a little bit, but it's so helpful. Instead of taking hours, it might take me 30 minutes to edit that. And after we talked about ChatGPT, I'm seeing on LinkedIn that some of these editors and these copywriters are starting to lose their jobs because people are trying to cut cost, and they're ChatGPT and other AI type products. They're making these jobs more automated and more efficient, and so you don't need as many people to do it.
Yeah.
And so we're going through like, okay, we've got to start upskilling, and we kind of want to talk about that too. We've had this in technology every time, there's been technology keeps evolving, and we have to keep looking at it and changing and upskilling it,
So really quickly, so when we get to a certain point, does everybody jump on that thing that's hot right then and they're making money off of it instead of going to looking at upscaling to the next thing? Do people get stuck in where they are? And then
Yes.
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
okay, we're good
Yeah.
here. And the technology changes. The next thing they're looking at something from 1997.
Yeah, I think I've seen
Yes.
that. And I think a lot of people do chase stuff. And it's okay to do that. If you can make good money, well, something's hot, but you gotta realize that's not gonna last forever. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. While you're doing that, you're also looking in the landscape in the future, and you're trying to evolve as it goes, and not just keeping your hand in the sand, head in the sand, or you're gonna wake up and that's gone.
And then you're gonna be there by
You're gonna be
yourself.
there behind.
There you go. Lori Jennings, Romita's here with us. The ladies, we're talking tech and business and doing business as well too, because through all the technical stuff, boy, there's an underlying thing that business, you could be great in tech, and if you don't have the business skills. Yeah. So now also you're saying people ought to get ready and find opportunities. You can safeguard, maybe not safeguard yourself, but you can kind of help yourself if you make sure that your skills are up to par. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you do find yourself, so these are some of the things we want to talk about today. If you find yourself unemployed for whatever reason, a couple things. you can consider. You know, you can try to get a full-time job, which a lot of people are doing, but there are, to me, at least in my purview, and I'm just, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm seeing that there are a whole lot of people looking for jobs and a lot less jobs there right now. So
Oh, I agree.
so there's
Yeah.
not enough jobs at least. And then the jobs are changing a little bit. So in this time, you can start upskilling. You can go back and get certifications, you know, do different things to upskill yourself. At the same time, another part is maybe looking at contracting. You may not be able to get a full-time job. You can get a contractor. Sometimes I've seen this where contractors have very specialized skill sets. They start out that way. Maybe they set themselves up as a 1099 or an LLC, and then they come out of it, out of the recession, and they've started their own business. That's one option. Or they just go into it as a placeholder. You know, you go in, get some money, and maybe you get hired by that company, or you go in and get some skill sets. You stay busy until you can find another job. I mean, there's so many options you can do as a contractor. And that's what happens a lot when people have uncertainty, like Ro talked about. She's not going to hire people full time, but she's willing to hire them on a contract. And I think a lot of companies do that, whereas they lay off people full time and then they start to fill those jobs because you still have to do some of the work and you just do it as a contractor.
Right, right. I mean, I would add that the worst thing that you can do as a technologist is stay stagnant with your skills. And that's true whether you're a full-time employee or whether you're a contractor. That the reason I believe that people go into technology is they like learning new things. And so if you've sat in an IT role for 10 years and you haven't added any new skill sets, that is absolutely a recipe for failure. It's a recipe for failure for the company that you work for and for yourself. So what I would say is that anyone who does not have a fresh resume with current skills in their downtime should absolutely be pursuing certifications and bringing things current. And as an employer, what I will tell you is, even if you don't have that experience necessarily in your previous job, but you can show, you know, in the past 3 months when you were let go, you upskilled, that tells me that you're willing to dig in and do what needs to be done to move your career forward. Those are the types of people that we want.
And I hear that from my clients as well. You know, and even when we were at full employment and there were a lot of people wanting to get into tech, and maybe didn't have the right skills or legacy skill sets. That's what all my clients were saying. Hey, we want somebody that's showing on their, you know, if you don't have the skill set, we want to see that you're dedicated and you're doing stuff on the side. You're in GitHub, you're posting, you know, you're getting certifications, you're going to meetup groups at night and trying to learn things.
Yeah.
That's what people
Absolutely.
are looking for. If you're just sitting there saying, woe is me, I'm not getting hired, and you're not doing anything to upskill, you're probably going to have a real hard time getting a job right now.
All right, ladies, we are at the end of April 2023. If the situation today, all of a sudden, it turned around and things started going in the right direction, when would we see that from the hiring perspective? Lori, when would you see it? People looking, Ro, when would you start to see it when you would be like, okay, maybe we can bring someone else on? 2 months? 6 months?
For us, it's probably at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, you have peaks and valleys. We want to make sure there's a general upward trend before we really start making decisions like that.
6 months down the road.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
during that 6 months, a person can be working on their skill set.
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the hot things right now in technology? Would you?
Oh,
would-
anything security. We do a ton of security work. So anything in the security space for sure. Business process automation. So we do a lot with Microsoft technologies. So Power Automate would be huge for us. Power BI, anything that can take a very manual process and automate it is going to be huge for us. So those are the two.
All right, Lori, a person's out there right now. The thing that they need to do today is make sure that their skills in the resume are updated. You love LinkedIn as well, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's where I find most of my people.
And LinkedIn is the new resume.
It is. It's more important than a resume because no one, and I've even seen articles lately. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you send in your resume.
Yeah.
The first thing I'm going to do is go look for your LinkedIn profile. I want to see who you know. I want to see your activity, how you present yourself. If you don't have one, that's a red
Big
flag
red
right there.
flag.
That's
Yeah.
screaming legacy, old school.
That
you know?
does it, and we came from a time where you walked in, you didn't know who you didn't know. You walked in, hi, I'm
Mhm.
Mike, and all those things. Now, I don't go talk to anybody now without looking at LinkedIn first.
Exactly.
I
And
mean,
you're
why?
in IT, right? So
Yeah,
you're
I'm
in
like,
IT, you gotta have
Yeah.
a social media presence.
when you look at that from a branding standpoint, we may have something in common that would work to the advantage. I need to show my skill set that I know the latest IT skills, and all of a sudden somebody sees it, and next thing you know. Oh, really quickly, Gloria, you'd also talked about when a person loses their job, you're saying get out there, let people know, because in
Yeah.
the past we were embarrassed.
We were
and-
little, there was a lot of shame associated with
Yeah.
it, and you didn't. You might tell your little your personal network, but now there's just people lean into that vulnerability, and the best thing you can do is get out there and let people know on LinkedIn and anywhere you can that you're looking for a job. That's how we help. I think people want to help you. You'll notice they'll forward your stuff, they'll give you advice,
Yeah.
they'll post jobs. It's really pretty
It-
cool when we see that, you know?
Well, and I think related to LinkedIn has changed a lot in the past few years, and it's
Mhm.
become a softer place. It used to only be, a resume, and, you might post business articles. What we're seeing now are personal articles, things about deaths in families, all of that. And that's actually good, because as employers, we want to understand who you are
Mhm.
and what's important to you. And I think that LinkedIn changing that way has helped a lot. But
Yes,
it's
too.
different.
And that's what we look for on LinkedIn, which we can't see on a resume. We want to see who you are a little bit, and you can show that on social media. And I think there is some age discrimination out there. Let's talk about it.
Yes. Yes.
None of us are in our,
I'm way past you guys. Um,
and what I hear from people in their, I don't know, 50s plus, is that they feel they're getting, they're not being considered because of age discrimination. And then I look at their LinkedIn profile and I say, well, hey, here's what people are concerned about.
Right.
That you're not using automation the way the younger people are. You're not, the social media. And I look at your profile and it looks very dated. So what are you doing to stay relevant? I'm 56 years old, but you're going to see me in a leather jacket, and I'm going to be out there, posting videos and doing things that I never did before, that I personally scared the crap out of me. And I just think you have to really look at that, how you present your brand. And LinkedIn's a way for you to get out there and change
Well,
that narrative.
And what I will tell you is that we've hired a few people in the past 6 months that are in their mid-50s, and I'm in my mid-50s also, so I appreciate that. But the interesting thing is that during the interview process, they have all said, look, I know I'm not a spring chicken. I'm looking for the place I want to call home for the rest of my career. And with me, that resonates really, really well, as opposed to someone who comes in maybe right out of college that's saying, I'm looking for the thing for the next 2-3 years, and then I'm going to move on.
Yeah,
I think there's an advantage in being an older
I do too.
professional.
And another thing I'm seeing with the older is they are used to being on site and they embrace it. They want to go on site.
Absolutely,
Whereas the
yes.
younger ones, they're fighting that. I think if you can lean into the fact that you want to go on site and that you
I
are,
agree.
that you're not looking to come in and maybe job hop in 1 or 2 years,
Yeah, I agree.
I think people are going to appreciate
We'll invest a lot more in you if we think you're going to stick
that.
around.
Mhm.
that is true. All right, ladies, really quickly, Lori Jennings, how can people find you out there?
Lori Jennings, Lori Jennings with a J on LinkedIn, or you can find me on my website at jenningsprosearch.com.
Ro Mead, how can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Rohana Mead, and you can also find me on our website, www.synergy-technical.com.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mic with Mike. This is a business show. We just happen to reside on ESPN. I've learned the business sports side of business from you ladies. Yes, I have.
Okay.
So the idea of using VCU basketball and those things to incorporate that into your business model. Let's talk about how. That's why I was at the RV Sports Awards, because
Yep.
yes, and it did work. Talk a little bit about that right there, using that, because you're a master at it too. You're working the room. You got seats over here, you got seats over there, and you're checking on your guests. Talk a little bit about why and how that's important.
Well, first of all, I started going to VCU games, not because for business purposes. It's just because it
Just
was a
fun.
passionate. It was just
Yeah.
so fun. And as I got in, I got further in, and then like Ro, now we're on the Ram Athletic board. It's just fun. And then I had all these seats, and so I started bringing my clients, and yeah, it's become a great place to do business. Invite your clients, have a good time, have happy hours before and after, and check in on them. But it's not, that's not the sole purpose, but it does, it just kind of led into that. I guess it's like guys used to do with golfing, maybe.
It's,
You're right.
it's the new, it is the new
Golf
thing.
or whatever.
Yeah,
It's a different
yeah.
take on that.
Yeah, and a lot of women don't golf.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of
yeah.
women in tech that just be thrilled to go to basketball. And then Ro, she got to be the women's guest basketball coach.
Yeah.
I
it's re-
did. Oh,
That's
was
so cool.
much
And then we
fun.
had a whole group of women come to support her in
that was
tech, and
so
that was
much
fun. To talk about that, because
Yeah.
Ro's done it in a much deeper way than I have.
Yeah, so we're a corporate partner with VCU and have been for 3 years, maybe 4 years. now.
So when you say a corporate partner.
Yep.
That's when I'm looking and I see Synergy Technical going across
Yeah.
there. I see up on the,
Oh, and there's
on overhead.
big new overheads
And-
now. That
and yes,
logo's
and it
so
looks-
large.
and then
It's
I'm
gorgeous.
at home watching Sports Center one morning, just minding my business. VCU hits the shot. They're in the top 10. And I look at that, I'm saying, is that Kathy? No, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Then I look and I'm like,
We were in Rhode Island.
so
yes.
here I text her, I'm like, were you at the game?
In
And
Rhode
she goes,
Island.
In Rhode Island. She says, yes. I'm like, that was you jumping. And she says,
Top 10
but you can
highlights.
see Ro
Who?
because she was shielded. And all I see is Kathy jumping up and down.
Yeah.
You guys went on the plane.
On the team plane, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that is that level of partnership. But the idea of when we had Robbie Robinson in, he talked about why wouldn't you want from a business standpoint
Oh,
to
yes.
be
Yeah.
partnering with the big organization in town?
Yeah, yeah, so we did it specifically because we wanted to elevate our brand in the Virginia area. We built the company outside of Virginia. Our employees were in Virginia, but we built the company outside of Virginia. And so Robbie and I had a conversation and I said, I'm looking to elevate our brand. And that was the way that we did it. But we really leaned into it and decided that we wanted to use that relationship to help elevate the community outreach work that we do.
Which is big.
Which is big, which is really, really huge. So we have been doing that for 2 years now, where we bring VCU basketball players to different nonprofits, bring the nonprofits then to the game. We donate based on the score of the game. So we've been doing a lot of that. We just now in the past 3 months signed an agreement with the Squirrels to be doing the same thing. And so what you're going to see is not only are we doing that with VCU, but you're going to be seeing us doing that with the Squirrels, Richmond Squirrels, which will be so
And
much
the
fun.
community involvement program that you guys have, touch on that for a moment.
Yes. So we partner with probably 20 or so local nonprofits.
But your main one is,
SOAR 365
yes,
for sure. Yes. We love SOAR 365.
and the park, that park that they have is, my grandkids love that park. That is a cool,
Fabulous.
it is a cool
Yes,
park,
it's
yeah.
fabulous. Yes. So again, what we do is donate to all of these community partners every year, but we try and do meaningful things. And so you can give an organization money and that's great. And no one's going to turn down money, but if you can give their participants experiences, that's what's really memorable. And that's what we've leaned into is a combination of both of those things. It's been great.
That's what I do. You guys do business right. That's, and that's one of the great parts about this show is to see somebody out there when they're out there making a difference. Like I said, we had the conversation about ChatGPT. One day, 3 days later, it's on 60 Minutes. And I knew what they were talking about. And people who listen and follow the show know what they were talking about because we have the experts coming in here. So on the mic with Mike, it is the Low and Row show. These two together could be one of those type reality shows. Yes, it could be. You guys do a lot of things, a lot of cool things.
We do a lot of stuff together.
We do.
You do.
Because we like to do it. I think that's how we got to know each other because we were doing similar things.
Yeah.
And then we started to hang out
Yeah.
because we were in the same places. We
Really
just-
quickly, let's
yeah.
talk about we got to give a shout out to your crew out there. when the great things that you guys are doing in the community. And I'm I'm drawing a blank right now.
Levi?
Well, Levi, yeah, he does the community, but it's Kathy's daughter.
Oh, Tablespoons
Oh,
Bakery.
Tablespoons Bakery.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and like I told Kathy, her daughter's name in the marketplace, I've known that name. I think she's been on the program, but I didn't put it
Yeah.
I didn't put it together
Yeah.
until the one day.
Yeah.
There are a lot of businesses, both you guys do a lot in the RVA tech world too. You guys are doing some really cool things.
Mhm.
The programs that you talk about. Explain to our listeners why that's so important and the important things that RVA Tech does.
I'm gonna pivot to Lori first on this.
What are we talking about? What's the
RVA
question?
Tech.
Yeah,
RVA
about RVA
Tech.
Tech. Yeah, I'm on the board. Both of us were on, we were at a retreat last week.
Yes.
It was the first time we've done almost a full day summit offsite. And we were talking about how we can elevate Richmond as a tech town,
Because it is.
because it
It
is. And I think Richmond, and if you talk to economic development and tourism, one of our charms is that we're understated. We don't really brag. At the same time, that can be like when people look outside, you can't find anything about us. So we're trying to consolidate and then come up with our brand in the tech community so that when people can hear about it, so that we can attract new talent here, new companies here, and maintain, retain the talent we have, and hopefully get some of these college graduates, some of the fresh
Yeah.
talent, versus letting them go to DC or New York or somewhere else, because we're doing some really cool things here. So we want them to know what we're doing.
Places always worry about the brain drain, but this town is attracting, talent coming in, younger talent. So that's what you
Mhm.
always want to do. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for joining the program. As I say, make sure you take care and listen to our sponsors and advertisers, our sponsors like these two ladies here, because I always say the microphone ain't free, plus my grandkids need stuff.
My name is Isabel, and you're listening to My King Biz Hubby. That's my scam.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you. We have some great programs out there. Make sure you support the nonprofits out there in the world too. They're doing some really cool things.
Hi, this is Sylvia Bernstein, and I am on the air with Mike King. He is widening the lens of humanity, and I'm so happy to be a part of his journey.
All right, we got to go. As I said, this is the Best Business Radio program. Around Lori Jennings, Roe Mead are here. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Now take care.
Thank you.
All righty, ladies.
Are you threw me on that every time? Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
That was-
That was
You
fun.
can get a picture. What are we gonna
You're
do?
gonna get a picture.
Because
You have to.
we want you to